All right, welcome to the 14th step. We're doing a quick video today because I saw something yesterday online and I wanted to play it and then do a quick reaction because I've had this question rolling through my brain for a long time and actually have had this come up in conversation. So let's watch it,
okay,
and then we'll talk about it.
Let's see.
I'm addicted to playing lottery scratch-off games. It became my everyday obsession. Every day I woke up and I went to bed, that's all I thought about. Things really got out of control. I became paranoid that someone might buy a winning ticket if I didn't buy it. I wouldn't even take a break to go to the bathroom. I would pee and poop in my pants because I had a fear that if I got out of line, someone else would win. When you have a lottery addiction, you have no shame. You'll go to any means just to get one more high. A few years ago, I was almost arrested for attempting to beat someone up because they were buying tickets.
Well, she was almost
arrested, and I was behind them. I started yelling, I started throwing things, swearing, I made a big scene, and all that lady said to me was, "You must have a problem." Over the years, I have no idea how much I've lost or spent. My addiction has nothing to do about money. It has to do with not wanting to need love, not need people. My addiction is definitely ruining my life.
Okay.
This is Dr. Phil.
This is Dr. Phil.
There's a heavy dose of exploitation on this one.
Okay.
I'm skeptical of this lady, first of all.
Okay, maybe so. But she brings up an interesting point.
She went full pee and poop. That was her whole hook.
Never go full pee and poop.
That was her whole hook to get on the show, because she wrote the producers, and she was like, "Look, guys, I got a lottery addiction." And they're like, "Nah, we've heard that 1,000 times." And then that light bulb goes off. She's like, "Wait, before you write me off, I pee and poop for lottery."
And I bet you they said, "Would you be willing to discuss that on the air?" And she said, "That depends." Okay, sorry.
You think she wears a diaper? Did this happen once, or is this a regular thing?
Depends.
Depends.
I could say that forever. It depends on how long. See, I said it. How long that line is to get a lottery ticket.
I've never seen a line that long to get a lottery ticket.
She might eat.
You know what?
She might eat Chinese buffet every day, and it's the pow pow chicken. It just comes at a bad. Okay. Anyway, let me go back to what this really is about. Okay.
Oh no.
I have had conversations with people, and they talk about addiction, and the main one we obviously talk about is what you would call a physical or chemical addiction,
okay,
right? Because you're taking some sort of a drug,
right?
Alcohol, opioids, street drugs, prescription drugs, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other addictions that don't involve an actual chemical,
right?
And I think people call those behavioral addictions.
Yeah.
Which are, I'll just list some off the top of my head. Gambling, right? Sex addiction.
Work.
Video games. Maybe, exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Could be one.
Eating disorders.
There you go. I throw in a cult.
Yeah.
Into that.
Like a religious addiction.
A religious addiction. A spiritual. So... As my question to you as the profound expert counselor, what is the difference between a chemical physical addiction and a behavioral addiction?
I don't think there's any difference at all. I don't think there's any difference at all, because whatever behavior you're doing, whether it's a drug that alters the chemicals in the brain or it's gambling that alters the chemicals in the brain, I would say that there's no difference in that. A gambling addiction or a sex addiction is having the same kind of chemical hook that a drug has.
Now, I've heard this, that I think a lot of people think that when your brain releases dopamine and it goes through the receptors, that it's an actual chemical transaction. And from what I've read, that it's not so much that as it is conditioning your brain to respond to that to respond to that as pleasure. Does that make sense?
It does, and I don't know enough about it to really speak on it, to be honest. But I know that the brain is an environment that will become tolerant to certain activities to where, you know, it's going to take more to get whatever kind of spike that you're looking for.
Right. So that pulling that slot machine and hitting those 777s, somehow in some people, that is as strong as a drug.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
And people kind of tend towards their own drug of choice, whether it's alcohol or gambling or cocaine.
Right, like this lady with the lottery tickets.
Like
there was something about scratching it off.
It does it.
She went on to say that it didn't even matter if she won. It was the idea of getting them, sitting down and scratching them. It was that anticipation that she may win. That was her hook.
And she said something really interesting actually in there about not needing love or not needing another person or something like
right.
that.
I think I took that as that was more important than needing love or another person.
Maybe so.
Was that lottery ticket?
Yeah. She was definitely doing that at the expense of everything else. And she knows she has a problem.
Yep.
And she keeps doing it. I think that's where you start to get into an addiction.
I wrote down some signs of that, but I guess some signs that you're in one of those situations is your inability to quit that behavior.
Yeah.
Right? You can't fulfill obligations at school, work, or home because you're busy doing that.
Right.
Relationship and social issues. Maybe you abandon other hobbies of your life because that's all you're doing. And boy, when I read all those, what pops into my mind is seeing so many people playing video games 10 hours a day.
I think what ties in these kind of process addictions or behavioral addictions to other addictions is the obsession. There's an obsession to repeat this one thing over and over and over again because you feel like you're just not okay unless you're doing that thing.
Yeah.
And that's the conditioning that the brain has.
That's it, right?
That you've conditioned yourself to believe that you cannot be okay unless you just do this over and over and over again. And you're chasing something.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to, isn't it?
This lady is chasing a win.
Yeah.
And she may say and it may not be about the money. It might just be about winning and getting control, like having control. This might be the only thing that she feels like she has control of in her life.
Yep.
She's looking for some kind of escape, and she's obsessing over this behavior and doing that over and over and trying to get outside of her own head in some kind of way.
Yeah. Or trying to numb something by just chasing, the control, like you said, an obsession about something else keeps someone from thinking about other stuff.
I think that's the key. I think people that get into these addictions, like you can imagine someone that's obsessed with working and works, 16 hours a day.
Well, what do we say about it? They're a workaholic.
And they're running from something.
Yeah.
They're trying to use their work as an escape from something that's bothering them. Mm-hmm. And it's not reality. It's not really an escape from reality because the people that have these addictions, they know that their reality is getting screwed by doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, it's really the thing that we're trying to get away from is ourself. Like we're trying to get away from our own mind because we're just not very comfortable in our own skin.
Yep.
And doing this is a distraction from that.
And I guess however you're made up individually in your life, you're drawn to different things. Some of us are drawn to chemicals. Somebody may be a video, you know what I mean? Might be video games. It just all depends.
And that can change. It's for adolescents, a lot of times it's cutting.
Oh, that's I didn't even think about that. Self-harm, that's another one.
And then that oftentimes will kind of morph into a drug addiction because it's really trying to accomplish the same thing. It's trying to get out of your own space that you're really uncomfortable in. And we talked about it yesterday about internalizing all of this stuff, this rejection and this loneliness and isolation, to where just day-to-day existence becomes very painful for people.
Yep.
And so no wonder you're trying to chase this little rush, whatever rush that you happen to find.
Yep. But there is help.
There is. There definitely is. If you know that you have a problem with a substance or a behavior, or if someone's telling you that you have a problem, please reach out to someone that can help. You can call SAMHSA. The link is below in the description. You can call a counselor. Call a recovery coach.
Absolutely. There's probably many resources in your area. In fact, you can just get online and type in help for addiction, and there'll be 1,000 things that you can do.
Yeah.
But it's up to you to make that first call and get pointed in the right direction. You can do it. There is treatment for addiction, no matter what kind it is.
And also, a great resource for these kind of addictions are forums. There's a forum online with a whole community of people with the same kind of thing that you're going through. So whatever it is, just know that you are not alone in that fight.
Absolutely, because it feels like you are, and you're not. And if you want to leave us a comment, we'd love to chat with you about it as well. Or if you have a story that's about any one of these topics, we love to listen to your story and maybe include it on one of our podcasts.
Yeah.
So thanks.